Hi guys, just thought I'd do a quick video. What's been happening in the house of God this week? All kinds of odd things, as usual. Chuka came to be with us last week, and what afternoon was it? It was Thursday afternoon. Thursday afternoon, he and Joel went into town, and Chuka came out of the store that he had been in, and while he's in the shopping centre, he went to his wallet and noted that there was a $5 bill there and whatever else he had. And then driving home, just minutes later, he goes into his wallet a second time to pull something out to give to Joel. And he pulled out the $5 bill. And this is how it came out. Now, this is Australian money. It's actually plastic. It has been since the early 1990s. It's made of a polymer. It's indestructible. Certainly, well, I won't say indestructible. It can be shredded and is at the end of its life cycle. But it's biaxially oriented polypropylene called BOP, and including the use of metameric inks, etc. It's made to last a very long time. Modern polymer banknotes were first developed by the Reserve Bank of Australia. They were issued as currency in 1988. It became the currency in 1996 when all other was phased out. These banknotes cannot be torn. I want you to note that it is a $5 bill, and that has the image, of course, of Elizabeth.
Now, I have hands like a gorilla. I'm pulling that with about 100 pounds pressure on just on the very edge. No? I'm levering against my fingers, so it's possibly 200 pounds. It's actually crushing the blood out of my fingers. And all it's done is stretched it. For it to do this is an absolute miracle. It hasn't been cut, we've examined it. It's been physically torn like that. So what's the message here? Elizabeth. Elizabeth is going to see Francis, which she doesn't particularly like, being an Argentinian. Now, what happened when Francis was in with the junta in Argentina, he acted as a buyer off the French of $200 million worth of the Exocet missiles, which incidentally was used in the Falklands War and very nearly killed Queen Elizabeth's grandson, Andrew. He was flying a helicopter, and he would hover in front of the ships as an Exocet missile was coming in, and then he'd receive an order by the radio to climb suddenly, and he'd climb the helicopter straight up, and the Exocet missile would lock in on the helicopter, and he would then keep ascending, and the rocket would only move after the helicopter at a certain degree of angle turn, and in doing that would miss the helicopter and fly over the top of the ship and then blow up. So if the Queen is going to see Francis, first off, I have offered the Queen on several occasions that there will be no replacement of me on the throne. She can stay there as long as she likes. However, I'm offering a pardon for all her family of the satanic rituals they get into, as long as they all repent. If they don't repent, well, the angel's going to take them out. But the whole point of this is that she's going over to see Francis, who is this Jesuit monster that is responsible for murdering people. She's aware of everything we've been writing, and we've served her again, and letters we presented from London when we was there just a little while ago. and to her, similar to what we had presented her with in 2010, wasn't it? 2009?
Yeah, 2010.
2010.
Oh, the Governor-General, Quentin Bryce,
The Governor-General as
2009.
well, 2009.
And of course what you'd already done through the courts in Canada and then again in Australia.
Now, her father, well, you just recite what
Yes,
her father said.
Elizabeth, first of all, I just want to talk a little bit. This is prophetic. The angels do this all of the time. Now, what's happening? Well, you're all reading the articles that are circulating. Her family is being torn apart. There's, I don't know what kind of validity they have, but it's certainly out there that their satanic ritual abuse, it's catching up with them. The United Nations slammed the Vatican when Francis was there last week or the week before. Now, behind that UN slamming the Vatican, that is their agenda, and that is the homosexual agenda, absolutely. They are trying to dictate terms to the Catholic Church now on educating their children, sex education, abortion, and the homosexual lifestyle. So what it is doing is raising up the army of the faithful, Catholic faithful, to fight the beast that is trying to destroy the moral fabric of the Catholic Church. And now the British royal family is being torn, the fabric of it is being torn in two, deservedly so. Both Francis and the Queen. Now, the number on this $5 bill is, it's CD, it's 0731061. Now, 616 in Greek is to breed forth, to generate, beget, produce, which is what the Queen has. In Hebrew, it is prisoner. Elizabeth herself has been a prisoner of her very evil husband. Now, the number 7310, which is in Hebrew only, because there are not that many words, is satisfaction runneth over, wealthy. But 731 in Greek is, sorry, that's Hebrew again, back to Greek, 731 is inexpressible, unspeakable. So the Queen owns most of the land upon the earth. It is inexpressible and unspeakable, runneth over wealth that she is in possession of. However, she has been a prisoner of her circumstances. She was born into the position, and it was her duty to bring forth the 4 children that she did. So, in fact, they are all prisoners of what it is that they have born into. And Brian has said on several occasions, as long as they repent, then they have forgiveness. And his personal assurance to the Queen herself, irregardless of what her offspring do, that they will be forgiven as long as she announces the return of the Christ, because she was educated according to a document called the Stone of Destiny that came through the Bob Taft, out of a very well-known political family out of the USA several years ago, the Stone of Destiny, that her father, George VI, educated Elizabeth from a small child, telling her that should the Christ make his presence known during her reign, then she was immediately to hand over the throne of England, because it is the throne of David, and she sits upon it as a custodian for the return to Christ. So he has made his presence known to her on several occasions. There is no excuse for her. She absolutely knows that he has returned. She is acquiescent by virtue of her not entering a counterclaim to the declaration and notice of claim that we sent to her, that she did receive on the 14th of June in the year 2010. And then, of course, more recently, last year's letter, again received in June 2013, written to her personally. I spoke to Buckingham Palace. The secretary that answered assured me that she would absolutely receive the letter that we sent to her. So it's all happening. The pressure is on. Francis is feeling the pressure in his position as the Antichrist, denying the world peace. It all stops once the announcement of the Christ goes out. So this is why the pressure is on. All your alternative truthing movement are ignoring it. They are culpable as much as the Antichrist Francis is. All of your churches, those that have known the name of the Messiah and have rejected and ignored, they are all culpable. Everybody knows.
Look what we've done in your name, Lord.
Yes, Lord, Lord.
Take it away.
Did we not do this? Did we not do that? And he will say, depart from me, for I never knew you. That's what it all boils down to. Obama knows that he is here. He responded to information that was sent to him. Now, let's get back to the Queen.
She's going over to see Francis, and being an Argentinian and being responsible for many of the British deaths with his Exocet missiles, I would say that being a friend of Pope Benedict, she might want to talk to Pope Benedict. And if he refuses, all she's got to do is go back home and say, listen, I've been able to see this arsehole. He wouldn't let me see Pope Benedict, the former Pope, a friend of mine.
Yes.
Because all I was going to do was ask him if this Marshall character is the man that he has said in his apostolic letter is Salvador Mundi. Pretty straightforward.
Anyway, it's getting all very exciting. Intense pressure.
We also have the Ariel Sharon, who repented and was going to pull all of the
a unilateral agreement
to pull out
Israel
of Palestine,
of the West Bank, Gaza Strip.
West Bank, and then he was cursed by the Talmud. Now I'm just writing up something at the moment. There'll be no Talmud. That's all going to be destroyed. There'll be no Dome of the Rock. We're going to level that. There'll be no temple built in Israel. That is not going to happen. There'll be no sacrifices. That ain't going to happen. And I ain't going to be there. Right? If they want to see me, they've got to come out of bloody Credunt. That's all there is to it.
The temple of God is where
I am. That's it.
Okay, so Adam's home. He's back in Australia. He's with us, getting over his 40-hour journey. And Chuka's here with us. That's all good. He's a lovely, lovely young man. So the saints are gathering. What is it? Where two or more, or three or more are gathered in my name?
That's right. Well, we don't count you.
No, we don't count.
Because you're prejudiced.
So this is the very thing that the enemy doesn't want, are the saints to come together.
Well, it's coming to a big bitter halt very shortly.
Yeah, it's all good. All good for the saints, all good for the good. And you're all doing a marvellous job, Gabe. You're up there doing everything that you can to awaken. All of you are continuing to fight the good fight. And it's always been just the very few. All good.